What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
I mean, that's fine by me, but can I ask you something?
What?
I was just wondering, how do you plan to expand the number of monsters in there? Are you gonna catch them somewhere?
I suppose her question made sense. It'd take a lot of monsters to fill 100 levels. But I had an idea. Let's tell her a little about it, at least so she'll cooperate with me.
Well, between you and me.
Rimuru let her in on the secret of how he wanted to structure this dungeon. As she listened, Rimuru could see her eyes begin to twinkle.
Wait, so…
Right. So then, Ramirez.
They began offering suggestions to each other as they whispered. This was getting exciting, and given it was the two of them involved, they naturally began to go off on tangents they never should have. Before long, they had worked out the concept for their advanced dungeon, as they called it. Rimuru honestly wondered if they could get away with it, but there's no turning back now. They had to do it, and Ramirez was itching to start, promising Rimuru that she'd build this labyrinth with everything she had.
You can take your time and rest along the way, okay?
There's no way I'll take a rest after hearing an idea like this. I'm gonna do it, let me tell ya.
I was just trying to motivate her a little, but I guess I got her really riled up. I'm glad she liked the romance of the idea, at least. I was just as excited. It was like a fantasy come alive.
Well, do your best. I'll get everything we need ready.
Alright, good luck, Rimuru.
You too, Ramirez.
They were comrades in arms now, grinning at each other. Exiting the labyrinth, Rimuru found the sun was already about to set. They must have been talking for a while. Work had finished for the day, with crews cleaning up and starting to cook dinner. Rimuru didn't want to bother them, so he told Gobkyou and Sufia that he'd see them the next day and took off. His next stop was Kurabe's workshop so Rimuru could have Kurabe give him some of the weapons and armor Kurabe couldn't sell on the market, stuff that was more to his personal tastes. The southwest side of town was currently an industrial kind of area, and Kurabe's place was there, along with workshops owned by his apprentices. There was also dorm space for the newer pupils without their own sites yet, along with lines of warehouses. There were inns and restaurants for all these craftsmen and apprentices, of course, and overall it was a fairly lively place. Kurabe's workshop was dead in the middle of it, and when Rimuru popped in, Kurabe warmly greeted Rimuru, showing him to Kurabe's storage building after wrapping up dinner.
Right here, Sir Rimuru. The stuff I have locked up in this warehouse is all pretty unique, not the kind of thing anyone can handle easily, you know. Are you all right with that?
Rimuru nodded his approval. Kurabe was right. Not all of it was very user-friendly or accessible. Some of it was locked up because it was too powerful, but a lot of it was just a total handful to use. The armor was a great example, like the suit of mail that sucked the wearer's magical force to erect a magic barrier. That might sound useful, but it continually sapped your power whether you wanted it to or not, eventually killing the hapless owner. Great defense, but a pretty damn pointless piece of equipment. There was also a sword that attracted all magicules in the local area like a magnet, making it impossible to cast any spells and transformed them into explosive force. You definitely got a bang out of it, but it didn't exactly spare the wielder from the blast. Rimuru would be way too scared to use that thing or the suit of armor that granted the wearer extraordinary physical strength for a limited time. Once that time expired, your muscles all ruptured, rendering you motionless and dead unless you had healing magic on hand. So basically, you had a room full of equipment that could kill you if you weren't paying attention. Rimuru doubted anybody in town was dumb enough to try any of this unevaluated stuff out, especially because Rimuru didn't want to take responsibility for the fallout, but he thought it'd all work just fine in Ramirez's labyrinth.
Yeah, it's fine.
Rimuru told Kurabe.
These actually seem really valuable if you take into account all their different features.
This was decent stuff, after all. Much of it was valued at rare or above, with a few uniques scattered here and there, in the same lineup as the Scale Shield and Tempest Dagger Rimuru gifted Cabal's party. Rimuru picked up one of the items, the Tempest Sword, as he turned to Kurabe.
It seems like kind of a waste, doesn't it? Keeping all this high-quality stuff in here just because it's still in the test stage. Don't you want to pair some of it with the kind of people who could really take advantage of it?
Rimuru was trying to lead him to the answer Rimuru wanted. Kurabe took the bait.
Oh, well, you can take whatever you like from here.
I wasn't tricking him, exactly, but I did feel kinda bad about it. Soon, Kurabe's warehouse was a fair bit emptier. Now Rimuru had a set of weapons he could populate the treasure chests in the labyrinth with. They'd be obtained by adventurers who earned the right to them by reaching the level Rimuru put them in, so he didn't lie to Kurabe at all. No need to look a gift horse in the mouth. Still, Rimuru was amazed at his sheer output. There was more here than the last time he had stopped by. He'd say it was at over 100 items now. Much of it was dicey, yes, but some pieces were just difficult to master. The one common link among them was that they were all superior to anything you'd see in the capital at Anglacia, the kind of thing you'd normally only see at auction. During the Harvest Festival that marked Rimuru's ascension to Demon Lord, Kurabe received the unique skill Mastercraft. This was a force that stacked on top of his previous researcher skill, polishing it further. By this point, Kurabe was way past Kaijin. Whenever he got serious about a project, it wasn't uncommon for a unique grade piece of equipment to result. Rare level for sure, at least. That was much of the reason why only his apprentice's work appeared at public showings.
Gotta say, though, I'm impressed. I've learned forging myself, but no way could I make any of this.
High praise from you, Sir Rimuru. Oh, but let me give you this before I forget.
Suddenly serious, the ever-modest Kurabe returned to the tatami mat room in the rear to fetch something.
What's this?
Well, it's something I've made you wait far too long for.
Kurabe handed Rimuru a long, straight sword, the blade a jet black in color. Not too long, but not too short, made just for Rimuru, at truly the ideal length.
So this is...
Yep, my greatest masterpiece yet.
At first glance, the only unusual thing about the sword was its black body. There wasn't some ultra-powerful aura shooting out, it wasn't generating its own magic or anything. But that's what Rimuru wanted. This blade's focus was squarely on durability. It'd never break, never bend, and would fully adjust itself to his magical force, without wreaking havoc around him, like with Hinata's Moonlight Sword. It allowed Rimuru to be wholly unrestrained in a fight.
Well done. You've made me proud, Kurabe.
I'm just as proud of it as you, trust me on that. But the sword isn't complete just yet. As you know, my weapons usually have a hole at the base, the way you suggested they should.
Rimuru looked at the base.
Oh, I don't see any here.
No, the other weapons get that hole when they're complete, but not this one. Because once it acclimates to your magic force, it'll grow, and evolve. And despite that, I built it so it'll always look like just another sword otherwise.
Kurabe had a right to be proud. As he put it, this sword in its complete state could be a piece of legend-class material. Not that it felt that way presently. The other equipment in the family was still under development, and the magic crystal meant to go into the hole he mentioned wasn't done yet. No point having a hole if there was nothing for it yet. Rimuru would just look forward to that forthcoming moment. Rimuru left Kurabe's workshop with a spring in his step. He had his own sword, and he also got all the other stuff he wanted. Now Rimuru could seed those treasure chests and spread them all around the dungeon. It'd be kind of fun to insert boss monsters to protect the particularly nice pieces, too. This was almost like designing a real-life dungeon crawl RPG, and it was unbelievably exciting. Yes, you could probably make a mint selling these test items and failed experiments at auction. Rimuru's sure Mjolmile or Fuse could hook him up with the right people for that. It'd be a surer way of earning income, but Rimuru didn't want that. The key here was to get humans interacting with monsters. He wanted to bring people over here and have them experience everything that made Tempest great, and if they liked what they saw, Rimuru's sure they would come back. This was just one part of that effort. Plus, this wasn't just a matter of bribing adventurers with loot and sending them on their way. Rimuru already had the next step of the process in mind. Let's say you have someone hacking their way through the dungeon, collecting assorted items and bringing them back to the surface. Using non-appraised weapons or armor, Rimuru had heard, was considered extremely dangerous. That's where his little friend Assess comes in. This stuff was made in Tempest, so Rimuru naturally knew all about their traits and features. A lot of it would be quite useful to adventurers, assuming you used it right. Yes, some of it was downright dangerous, but we'd offer a buyback service for that. Money's meant to be circulated, not kept in a vault or whatever. As long as they purchased the materials they needed and paid for necessary upkeep, they could give back the rest to the adventurers. Word would spread about this over time, and Rimuru was sure it'd make their land famous. Besides, filling adventurers' wallets would improve the outlook for their inns and lodging houses. More people coming to Tempest meant less downtime for places like that, which was important, for business and for advertising. so the southeast side of town would have a battle arena, with Ramirez's dungeon underneath. On the southwest, they'd have discount inns and hostels. Unlike the high-end facilities to the northeast, they'd keep things cheap down there, attracting primarily adventurers to help delineate their offerings. Their location would be convenient to the Labyrinth, and Rimuru was positive it'd be a booming success. Rimuru was worried at first when Ramirez talked about moving here, but maybe that was the right thing to do all along. They also planned to have at least 1 or 2 large-scale events at the arena each year. Mjolmile was no doubt filling in the rest of the year's schedule with other things, too: military training, test your metal events for adventurers, and so on. There could be a lot of demand for that kind of thing, Rimuru thought. They could have people try to use that training in the dungeon, a kind of standardized exam, you could say. If you can't die in there, you could try some crazy stuff you'd ordinarily never dream of attempting. Realizing how many options were open to them, not just commercial, either, Rimuru decided to talk with Benimaru later about them. Rimuru had his seed items, but it was too early to focus on the dungeon. That could wait until it was done. For now, Rimuru wanted to wrap up talks with the one person they needed for the final touches, the whole cornerstone of this scheme, Veldora. I found Veldora relaxing in my little house a bit removed from town, a nice little Asian-style tea house. There's actually a secret to this building, but I'll go into that later. Veldora was treating the place like he owned it or something, which I didn't mind that much, but come on, man.
Yo, Veldora, can you do me a favor?
What? I am busy.
Yeah, busy reading manga, maybe.
Aw, too bad. I thought this was a pretty neat offer, too. But if you're busy, then oh well. I just figured we could use your aura to— oh, right, sorry. You're busy, never mind.
Rimuru pretended to walk away. Leaving what was supposed to be my own house was a little weird, but well, I had lots of places to sleep. Besides.
Oh, just one moment. I am busy, yes, but if you insist upon it, I will lend you an ear.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to Luke Devilax, King Bulate, Canaria MLBB, Tempest, Michael, Rival Sakilin, John Mardi Malaluan, Ron Artates, George, Bunjin Cozy de la Lisa, Rolly Boy Raymundo, John Wise, Chad Vota, Silent Storm Seeker 69, Varun Parmar, and last but not the least, shout out to Brian Prado. I'll see you guys in the next video.